So I'm going to be using a Pom Pom maker to make mine. It's a super handy tool, really easy to use and really fun for finishing off your projects. So you're going to need your yarn. I'm making my Pom Pom grey, the same colour as my hat, but again you could use a contrasting colour, you could use some yarn scraps and make a multicoloured Pom Pom, it's totally up to you. So first things first, you want to open one half of your Pom Pom maker. So when I say one half, you're opening both of the legs on the half that sits together, so you're opening kind of one semicircle out from the centre bit. So this has got two separate pieces. It's important that you keep these two together. You don't want them like this, or one in, one out. They both need to be out together. Then you're simply going to wrap your yarn around this half. So I'm going to hold it with my thumb just to secure it in place whilst I wrap the first few wraps over that end. There we go. And then you simply start wrapping. So you want to keep going until it's pretty dense. When you close your Pom Pom, this should be full of yarn and there should be some resistance when you close it. That's how you know you're going to have a nice fat Pom Pom. So it takes a little while to do all the wrapping, but trust me, patience pays off. If you don't wrap enough yarn, I'm afraid your Pom Pom will look a little bit sad. Just got to keep wrapping the yarn. Make sure you don't wrap any yarn over these bits, so it's super easy to sort of do that by accident. Really try not to do that because it's just going to get a bit tangled in your Pom Pom maker and your Pom Pom won't be quite right. So okay, so that's starting to look full enough on this half. So I'm just going to give it a little test squeeze in. Oh yeah, so as you can see, there's just a little bit of resistance when I push that in, so I know that this half is now done. So I'm going to snip the yarn and open up the other half. So we're going to do the exact same thing again on this half. So you're opening both of those blue levers together, hold them together. Use your finger or thumb to hold the end of the yarn in place whilst you do a few wraps, and you can sort of try and do these wraps over that beginning bit, and then eventually you can let go of that starting point and then start wrapping. It doesn't matter if you go back and forth over a section, but try not to go sort of here and then here, because then you're ending up getting these like diagonal bits that just mean you're going to get a bit of an uneven Pom Pom. It's not the end of the world because you can tidy your Pom Pom up with some scissors, but it's best to try and avoid that if you can. So we want this half to be as full as the other half. Okay, and then once it's full on both halves, you want to close both of them in. You want to cut your yarn. Then you want to cut a separate piece of yarn that measures sort of 40 centimetres-ish. Don't worry, it is an ish, but you want it long enough that you can wrap it around and tie around your pom-poms. So next we're going to cut to make the lovely fluffy ends. To do this, you'll notice that you have a round bit and levers at each side. So with the round bit facing you and the levers at the bottom, you're going to cut around this top half. So it's important that you start with the round bit on top, because if you start cutting with the levers, it can open up and all of your yarn will fall out, and we really don't want that. So going in with the round bits on top, you want to cut through all of the yarn with a pair of scissors. So you need some pretty sharp scissors for this. There you go. You want to make sure you get through every single bit of yarn. If there's any small fibres going across, it's not going to work. So make sure you're cutting everything. So yeah, there's just a nice little groove for your scissors to sit in. It kind of guides you around. And then once you've cut around the whole pom-pom, like this, you then want to get that piece of yarn that we just cut, and you're going to push it inside that groove. So the groove where the scissors were sitting, you're going to go right in there. So you want to push it in as far as it will go. So you're going around the whole pom-pom. You shouldn't really be able to see the yarn except for the two tails. And then you want to tie your two ends together. So you want to do this really nice and tight. And then tie it again as tight as you can. And then you can wrap it round another time and tie it again. So we're basically just making sure that our pom-pom is as tight as possible in the middle, which is going to keep it intact and give it a nice round shape. So once you feel like you've done that as tight as you can, you're then going to lift up your little levers, and on the other side, oh, you can see it taking shape, and then you want to take hold of the white bit on each side and pull them apart. And there you go. You've got a lovely fluffy pom-pom that you can now attach to the top of your hat. So you might want to give it a little trim, a little tidy up with some scissors. Mine's got a couple of stray bits. They're a little bit longer. So you can just trim that up. I mean, I'm not too much of a perfectionist when it comes to pom-poms, so I'm not going to mess with mine too much. And then you want to take your hat and your sewing needle. You want to thread the long end. Well, you should have two long ends, so you don't want to cut the ends you attach of the yarn that you use to tie your pom-pom together, because these are really handy for attaching it. So then you want to just stab your needle through the middle of your hat and then pull it through. And then with your other long tail, again, you want to thread that through your needle, and then you want to go through a slightly different spot in the top of your hat. So basically you want to make sure you're not going through the same stitch twice, because then we're going to tie these two ends together and tie a knot nice and tight, which is going to secure the pom-pom nicely to the top of the hat. And then we want to, again, going through a slightly different spot, you want to stab your needle back round to the right side of your hat, keeping it right at the top. And then you're stabbing it through the heart of your pom-pom. Then once you've pulled it through, you can trim it to the same length as the rest of your pom-pom. So you don't need to weave in these ends, they're just going to become part of the pom-pom. So I'll do that with the other one. Thread it through, straight through the pom-pom and out the top, and you just have a nice secure feeling pom-pom. And finally trim that end